folks, Charlie Sims here. Welcome to my channel. Hope you're having a lovely day and thank you for joining me for a speed build. And today we are making a fortune teller's cottage and wagon. I've actually wanted to do this for a really long time. Like since paranormal stuff came out, I've wanted to do a wagon, but then in the back of my mind I always thought that's going to be a really short video. And then I thought going into this that I will initially do a cottage, and then last minute I thought I've got the space to do a fortune teller's wagon. Yeah, because the cottage was going to have a little office in, but it ended up being too small, and the office was going to be for telling fortunes. And I'm really happy with how this came out. I think this is like my favourite build on my YT channel today. I just love how this turned out. I spent a lot of time on it, and I'm really glad that I did spend a lot of time on it. So at the moment, I'm just making some bespoke columns with these items from Debug. I use the tool mod a lot in this build. At the moment, I think the front with the orange, it looks a bit craftsman rather than cottage, so I make that grey. I really like what I do here. It's like maybe a little bit strange, but because we get a matching wallpaper, we get like the chimney and then we have wallpaper that matches in Discover University, so I kind of carry the chimney on under the roof. You'll see what I mean in a minute. I think it looks nice. I don't know. It's just something a little bit different, and I thought it made the back look really cool. And I'm just messing about with the wall now. Once the messing about of the wall is done, we have like a bit of a line where the chimney and the wallpaper starts, so we just cover that with some vines, and I think that looks really nice as well. And I thought the sim living here was a fortune teller. However, the outside looks kind of magical, so I think there could definitely be a spellcaster living here. I might just be thinking that because it's a cottage in the forest, so I'm probably thinking of Hansel and Gretel subconsciously. But at the moment, the basic shape of the house is done. We add a porch at the back here, and this house is actually 100 tiles before I add the fortune teller's cottage, so you could even remove the fortune teller's cottage and play in a small house here. And the sim that lives here also really loves plants, and you'll see that from the inside. There are so many plants on the inside. But now I'm just adding the wallpaper to the exterior and the windows and the doors, and then I decide to darken down the chimney so that it contrasts more with the house. And now we are inside. We are now jumping inside, and I know I haven't done any of the landscaping, but I wanted to ensure that the structure of the house didn't need to change, and it doesn't. We can fit everything in, and I actually really like the floor plan of this home, even though now that I'm doing the floor plan I do completely forget a bedroom, but we do fit a bedroom in and it still feels really nice and cozy. I absolutely love the interior. We fit plants in everywhere we can possibly fit plants in, and normally I don't clutter to this extent. I do add some clutter, but not as much as I do here. And what I love about this, and I mean we can't talk about it too much because once we put the bare essentials down, I do go outside and we landscape again, and then we come back to the interior and we fully furnish it later. So I can't talk about it too much, but you know when you have like a really small home, like at the moment I live in a really tiny flat, and when you live in a tiny home, like the functionality of rooms, they become multifunctional. So your living room doubles as storage space and your wardrobe, for example. And we have things like that here that I just really like. I think it just adds to the realism. I really like realism. That being said, I don't know how realistic this landscaping is. It's like a combination of trying to blend into the surrounding areas and then this magical overgrowth of mushrooms and pink plants and all of that stuff. And I mean, I guess it is realistic, you know, you can plant plants, you can be a great gardener. I mean, I think this sim loves gardening from the amount of plants they have inside the house, so I guess it's kind of nice that it's on the outside as well. I just really wanted to make this overgrown and just have a ridiculous amount of flowers. And also I really like this, you know, when you have like bluebell fields, this is like, I don't know, pink plant fields all around it. Amongst the trees on the lot are pink flowers, and I think that looks really nice. We have a path leading to nowhere here that I later join with the wagon as well. And we're putting a lot of different plants down at the moment, but I do actually end up using a lot less. I kind of remove some of the romantic garden ones, and I remove all of these bushes as well because I think they just look a bit too manicured. So we leave all of the overgrown natural bushes and the flowers, but the bushes with the flowers in, we remove those, and we basically add, it's mostly grass, some low level flowers, some different flowers from romantic stuff that's a bit taller, and then we carry this pathway all around the lot, and I actually really like that. We also add a lot of rocks as well. I find these mossy rocks from Snowy Escape and we use them everywhere. I think they're really nice. We also pull out some plants from debug, some different types of grass from debug, some like natural looking foliage that doesn't necessarily look planted or anything. We pull that out as well. And I also pull out a fence from debug, and then we surround the whole lot with a fence as well, which is really nice because at the front of the house we then use the front as like a little entryway with a sign to the wagon. And yeah, I'm just really happy with how this turned out. So pleased that I ended up adding the wagon. So I wanted the fortune teller's wagon to look portable, so we do actually put like a van at the front of it, and I think it looks really cool. It looks kind of like a modern fortune teller's wagon, and like what you would actually get nowadays. You know, not having horses to steer the wagon. You would probably have in modern day a car steering the wagon. So we did that. But the only problem with that is the van that I used clips the bottom of the building that I use for the wagon, which means that your Sims can't actually get to the seance table inside the wagon, which I was actually really gutted about because I think it does look really cool. However, I do put a dining table in the corridor that you could turn into a seance table. But yeah, the wagon is purely decorative, unfortunately. But now we are inside already. You would have seen me get some mushrooms out of debug and add them in the surrounding area as well. I thought that kind of looked nice and suited a forest. Just making a little corner sofa with our new sofas from Paranormal Stuff, and I actually think they look really good, and there's no clipping. I use the tool mod to rotate a cushion so that I can just cover some like weird bits, but you'll see me do that a bit later and I'll point that out. But for now we're just adding a dining table with the paranormal stuff that I'm still obsessed with, and now we're making a kitchen, and I decided to use these Salvadorada counters because I think they look a bit more rustic than the other ones, the Parenthood ones, and yeah, I think that looks really nice. We clutter that up later. For now I'm just putting in the base furniture. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. This is what I do with the cushion, so I'm rotating this and just moving it to cover that bit that looks a little bit strange. We get like half a blanket poking out and it just doesn't look quite right, and then we cover the back with an end table. And I later swap this out for a paranormal stuff end table as well. I really like that we accidentally have a feature in this living room as well with the chimney that kind of pokes into the house. I think that looks really cool. So I'll put like a fireplace on that chimney, and yeah, I think that looks really good. I'm really happy with that. And now we're just adding the wallpaper and the flooring. We use some Jungle Adventure flooring just throughout, and I just switch up the colour scheme a little bit. I think that red looks a bit better there. And now we're just going to clutter this entire wall with little paintings. I think things that the Sim has collected on their travels while they've been travelling as a fortune teller in their wagon. I really like that idea. And this is where I find some rustic looking coat hangers from Laundry Day. I really like these. I thought, as I said earlier, when you've got a small place that the rooms end up being multifunctional, this is like kind of what I'm doing here. And I think this looks really nice. And another thing we do that I really like in the bedroom as well is like we pull out this eco lifestyle cabinet, and it's got a load of plants on it. It's like a shelving unit with plants on, and then I just put like some clothes amongst the plants. Like this Sim, and you'll see it soon as we add plants, this Sim is just all about plants, so I really liked the idea of their clothes kind of coming second to the plants. So that was the idea behind that. Thought that was a little bit of fun, and I'm just putting together 2 bookcases to make like a unique kind of bookcase with different bookends, I guess. So just cluttering up the fireplace, and now that was just me swapping the end table out for that end table that I love from paranormal stuff. And the back, we just dedicate that to plants. So yeah, this is me pulling some plants out. Get that lovely plant from paranormal stuff, and I don't think I've ever used that normal size. I think I've always sized it down because it's absolutely huge. But this is me thinking about how I can fill up this wall before pulling out this wall of plants from Seasons, and then I use the tool mod to lower it a little bit so that the grass doesn't intersect the couch. The grass intersects the couch a little bit, so I end up using the OMSP shelf, add a teddy to the couch to cover that little bit of grass, and I think that looks really cool. I was really happy with that because I absolutely loved that Seasons wall of plants. I just never use it, so it was nice. And then I add some wall mounted gardening apparatus as well. And then here, this is what I was saying earlier. I kind of pull out this shelving unit with pots in, and then we add some clothes. Like the Sim just loves living amongst their plants, and their plants kind of come first and their clothes come second. That's the idea. That's how much they love plants. So now I'm making a backsplash as well to the bed. I guess I'm making like a different kind of headboard. So we have some windows, and then we have a shelving unit, and then I just clutter the shelving unit with books and lamps and just things that you would find in a bedroom. So you'll see me do that in a minute. I kind of like don't show all of the clutter for this. So here we go. Books, another plant, a couple of lamps just for when they read in bed. So I thought that was really cool. Then I add a mirror and some hanging wall art, and that's almost the bedroom. We do add some curtains. So here I really wanted to add those sheer curtains underneath this big curtain. So we use the tool mod again and just move it back so that the sheer curtains are behind the thicker curtain. And now we're onto the kitchen. So I put some plants on this shelf here, of course. I think I've seen people with plants in their kitchen as well, people who really like plants, so that's what I was doing here. And then we clutter this counter up with many things. I pull out that box of crates as well that looks like they've had an apple delivery and a milk delivery. And then I just clutter this whole counter up because we can have the other counter for preparing food, because we can prepare food on a corner counter, so all good. And then I add this corkboard with a load of postcards that you can get from the, I think it might be the hidden objects menu instead of the debug menu. And you can get to it typing testing sheets on and then bb.show hidden objects, and then you'll get all of those postcards and a load of other collectibles as well. So I'm putting some herbs down, and I think we just finished that off with a couple of dream catchers as well, and then that's the kitchen done. And then we move on to the dining room, and I don't add too much in the dining room. I just add some curtains, a rug, and then we put some plants on the table as well. Oh yes, of course, I completely forgot. We had a load of hanging plants here as well. So plants in every corner of this house. Oh, I also added that too for laundry, although I didn't put any laundry stuff in this build, but you could definitely fit it in. So now I just moved the lot up a little bit so that we could fit the wagon in the front. And I won't lie, when I first started doing the wagon, I just didn't know whether I would be able to do a wagon. However, the tool mod has certainly made it a lot easier. I don't know whether I would have been able to actually do this without the tool mod, given how much I use the tool mod for this. So the stairs up to it, we temporarily make this medium wall height so we can add that door from Realm of Magic, because I really like that. And then we size the walls down again, and we also size that door down. But yeah, I just think that door's kind of perfect for a wagon. We also put the curtains from paranormal stuff in front of it. So the platform trim I use is stilts so that it looks like we've got a bit of a gap from the ground to the wagon, just to give it a little bit of realism. Then I find a wheel from Cats and Dogs that's a wall decoration, and I use this wall decoration and then another wall decoration from Get to Work to make the wheels. But now we are trying to find a van. So here we've got a van that we're going to use, and we're going to lower this a little bit, and that makes up the front of the wagon alongside the big thick windows that we get from Snowy Escape. Well, I'll show you later, and that makes up the front of our wagon. But at the moment I'm just removing some fence, and then I need to use the tool mod to move these into the building so that they're not coming out quite as much. And then I need to move the wheel decorations from Cats and Dogs as well. But this is fairly painful, so you don't see all of this process. It took me a really long time as well. When you get the wall decal close to the building, it then jumps up, so I had to lower it again. But this is the final outcome of the wheels, not the wagon yet. We've still got to put windows in the wagon, and then some signs, and then decorate the inside of the wagon. But this is basically the shape of the wagon. We do change the roof tile as well later. I think now I'm not, I'm just covering up some like strange looking edges with some plants. I think that looks really nice. It looks like the wagon's been there for like a really long time. And now I'm adding some windows and then some signs. So I found these signs from City Living. I think they're really cool. And then I'll pull out some lights as well. And I have to use the tool mod again to move this down. And the tool mod just makes things so much easier. Things that just, you know, jump up. When you move them to certain positions, you can just elevate them down one with the tool mod. I would honestly highly recommend, if you're not into mods, you know, if you only get one, get the tool mod, because it just makes life so much easier. Find this sign from Get Together that's a bit more generic than the other signs, and we end up using that one. This is just me pulling out some things for the surrounding areas. I think we end up putting that well in the front actually, rather than there. And now just putting some wood by the big tree before continuing with the wagon. So got a little bit distracted then by things that I could see in sculptures. Just wanted to add like a little bit more detail. So we cover up the section of the van here, and I think the other bits of the van look fine. I think they look like floorboards, but obviously as I mentioned, we do have some problems with routing, so purely decorative, but I did want to leave it in afterwards, just because, you know, I really liked it. And I think you could, like, don't get me wrong, I think you could lower the van a little bit more. I might try that actually and mention it in the description, or maybe upload that one. But I think if you lowered the van a little bit more, you could definitely, this could definitely be functional, although you would then have tyres that look flat, which is like, I don't know, maybe fine. Yeah, I guess that would be fine. Let me know if that's something that you would like me to do. I know not everyone's got the tool mod, but if you do have the tool mod, I think if you just lower that van and test again. So this is the final touches for the van. I'm adding a Snowy Escape window. I think that looks really nice, and I think that just makes the van. Then we add some curtains onto this as well. Then I think soon we're actually onto the screenshots. I add a couple more things inside the wagon, including a coat rack, so your customers can hang their coats up. And then I add a bench onto the porch, because I completely forgot we have some nice space on the porch for like looking out to the sea, so we add that as well. And then I am done. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you would like to see more content from me, please hit subscribe. Catch you later.